folks, Nate here at Two Wheel Dyno Works, and today behind me I have our brand new 2024 ZX6R. ZX6 did get a big facelift. As you can see here, the front end of the bike is completely different than it was previously, but the rest of the bike remains relatively unchanged besides some changes to the top end with cams and the airbox and the intake. Now, I was actually hoping for a throttle-by-wire bike for the 2024 model, but Kawasaki did not give us that, so they probably will not for this generation at all. I'm not sure how they're going to race it at Moto America with FIM requirements, but regardless, this bike is still a secondary throttle plate control bike, which is great because we've actually tuned thousands of these things over the years already, and now we've got one of these in-house to go ahead and build mapping for the new cams and intake design with a variety of different exhaust systems as they come on in. And as you can see on the back of our bike here, this thing is bone stock. All I've got is the tail pulled off just so I can get access to the ECU, but the exhaust and the airbox is still completely as it came in from the factory. In fact, this is my bike, and it's only got like 30 miles on it now of braking time on the dyno from some R&D that we've been doing as well with the stock exhaust system. So I'll go ahead and show you the quick baseline run here of this thing nice and hot and broke in on the dyno in bone stock configuration with the stock ECU mapping in place. And there it is, bone stock. This thing on our dyno made about 112 horsepower and about 48 foot-pounds of torque. Now, as you can see, above 13,000 RPMs, the power curve just falls off a cliff, which is to be expected because these bikes are just neutered from a tuning perspective when it comes to meeting emissions compliance. Not only is the thing restricted at the top end in terms of the secondary throttle plates, but the ignition timing is also all over the place, and the fuel mapping doesn't make any sense. It's lean as you'd expect at light throttle and at idle for emissions compliance, but at the top end and some weird parts through the mid-range, it's actually stupidly rich from the factory. So we've gone ahead and resolved all of that, and here is our custom mapping with the stock exhaust still in place here on the dyno graph. With the fuel mapping dialed in for the stock exhaust system, our custom secondary throttle plate mapping, our custom ignition timing mapping, and everything else that we do to these bikes when building proper tuning for them, the bike only picked up about 3 horsepower or so peak to peak. But at the top end of the RPM range at 14,000 RPMs, that's more than 20 horsepower improved from the stock ECU mapping versus our custom mapping here at Two Wheel Dyno Works. In fact, if I select right there at 14,000 RPMs, you can see we're making 109 horsepower where the bike as it came on in was only making 88. So again, that is a more than 20 horsepower improvement to the top end of the RPM range on these bikes with the bone stock exhaust still in place. Now, obviously the bike is still massively choked up with the stock exhaust system and the stock intake that is currently on the bike. So we're gonna go ahead and get rid of all that stuff. I already have exhaust systems from multiple manufacturers that will be on the way, and I think here tomorrow, and we'll go ahead and get those installed as soon as they arrive. I'd expect custom mapping built for the slip-ons by the end of the day tomorrow, and for a couple different full systems before the end of the week, and we'll obviously share those results with you guys as well. Our ECU flash for these new 2024 ZX6Rs is going to be $329.99 on sale on our website at twowheeldynoworks.com. I will have the list of the maps that we currently manipulate and adjust, as well as obviously things like the D-cell fuel cut that we disable and the cooling fan temperatures that we lower, listed on our website. But that's going to be a rapidly changing list because we're working directly with the software developers, which is why you won't see an ECU flash listed from anybody else, literally anybody else other than us at Two Wheel Dyno Works for these bikes as of today. And I'll go ahead and update that list as we continue to add maps that we then manipulate and adjust to achieve the proper mapping results that we're looking for with these bikes. So as always, if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call or shoot us an email. support@twowheeldynoworks.com. We're always happy to help, and I'm stoked to see what we can get accomplished with these new 2024 ZX6s.